I thank you, Jersey. Appreciate that. How's everybody doing tonight? Who have I got in here so far? See, I got Jersey. You got any of my other regulars, or is anybody here for the first time? Hey, Rick, how's it going? Yeah, so as usual, or if you're new, there is a link in the description where you can download the tabs for what we're going to be looking at tonight. So give everybody a chance to do that. Looking at a little ZZ Top. Hey, John, how's it going, man? And if y'all could take a moment to just hit that thumbs up button, that helps me to continue to have this job. So I'd appreciate it. Yeah, so the one we're going to be looking at tonight is Got Me Under Pressure. This is probably my least favorite ZZ Top album. I don't know. I think that album's kind of weird. I think the songs that are on it, they're like good songs, but I think that the way the production of it was weird. They were trying, it was like the record label. I kind of doubt it was, Dusty Hill and Billy Gibbons, wanting to do that. But I think that the record label kind of was trying to get them into this bigger audience or something. Hello, Crit. Welcome. Hello, Gary. Welcome. Yeah, so like I was saying, we're going to look at Got Me Under Pressure, and there is a link in the description for the tabs so you can follow along. But yeah, what I was saying is that this is like my least favorite album, but this is a cool song that has some like cool riffs and stuff in it. It's just weird. The drums on this album, all they're all like electric drums, and I don't know. It's just kind of a weird sounding album. Hi, Roger. Welcome. You didn't know it was a live chat? Oh yeah, that's right, Rick. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, so I hope that's all healing up good and everything. Gary, I'm assuming you're asking me if I'm feeling better. Yeah, I think whatever the crud I had was gone. I haven't got a cough anymore, really, or anything like that. The weather here is nuts. Like I got up to 6 inches of snow, and then it warmed up enough that it melted all, and now it's snowing again. So that's like screwing with my sinuses. But thank you for asking. Hello, Victor. Welcome. Oh, good, good. Yeah, physical therapy is like a double-edged sword. It like while you're in the process of doing it, it's terrible, but uh, I'm a big believer in it. I got into a car accident where I had my hand outside on the roof of the car, and the car rolled over onto my hand, it just mangled it. And the doctor told me that I'd never play guitar again. And then I went to physical therapy, and they were able to fix me. Other than I've talked before about, I don't like doing the thumb around the top chords because that's a little painful. Oh, you're in Missouri? I'm in Utah, Gary. All right. Yeah. So, also, this is just a general, Q&A. So if anybody's got any, guitar questions and stuff, or, cool guitar news to talk about or anything like that. Oh, you're not getting any volume from me? Hmm. It looks like it's working on my end, and I'm thinking somebody else would have said something. Hello, Chris. Welcome, North Carolina. All right, so let's take a look at this. So, oh, I'm on the wrong page. Glad I noticed that. I think I'd have figured it out pretty quick though. So as usual, this isn't like you can't just like sight read this from start to finish and play the whole song. It's like the parts. So we're gonna go over like what's the like the intro, what's the verse, what's the chorus, what's the bridge, those parts, and then they're I mean they don't sound alike, so it's easy to tell which ones are which, and then you can put it together. Because like on this song, the first verse is like really short, then the second verse is really long. So like they just extend that the part out. Oh, you had broken fingers, Roger? All right. So hi Victor. Canada. Cool. Cool. Had a few people from Canada on here before. Let's see. Yeah, so this main riff, uh, it's like, the song starts with it. It's kind of like the really recognizable, ear candy riff. But this song has a lot of cool things in it, I think. So with this, we're going to start off. It's made up of just these little fourths dyads. So you're going to start. We're going to bar on the ninth fret on the D and the G string. You're going to want to use your third finger. And then at the same time, take your first finger and put it down on the seventh fret of the D and the G string, because we're going to do a pull off. So we're doing a pull off with two strings at the same time. So I just do it just with one finger like this, but you may find that it's easier for you to use two fingers, to use your third finger on the D string and your pinky on the G string for this riff. But for me, it's just as easy just to use one finger for me. But if you're a beginner, that would probably be harder. It would probably be easier to do it the other way. All right, so we're gonna. This is kind of weird, the timing, because the downbeat of one is a rest, so this actually starts on the end of one. So we pick this and pull off, and two, and then on the and to two, you take your third finger and you're going to bar the ninth fret of the A and the D string. Now, another thing too is that if the pull off thing, when you're first starting out, or even after you've been playing for a while, like hammer-ons and pull-offs and stuff can be difficult if you're a beginner. If you're trying to do two strings at the same time, it's going to be you know twice as hard, at least, to say the least. So what you want to do, if you can't do that, is you can just pick all of it. Just so instead of pulling off, I'm picking. It sounds, I mean, it doesn't sound exactly the same. There is a little slight difference in the sound, but it's not enough to go, oh, I'm not going to play it. Oh, thank you, Victor. I appreciate that. Yeah, I thought I recognized the name. I mean, Nobody should ever get offended by if I don't remember your name or anything. Like my memory is absolute crap, so I have a hard time remembering that kind of stuff. I need to get one of those belts with my name on it, so that way when I pull my head out of my butt, I can see what my name is because I can't remember. So anyway, yeah, you can pick the whole thing too. So it's and 2 and 3 and 4. So after we come down here to the A and the D string, then we're gonna shift right back up to the 9, and we're gonna hit, and then we're gonna hit it again and do a pull off, just the 7th fret. And when we hit that, so we do the pull off on the and of 3, and then this is a quarter note. So this is the only one that's a quarter note, but it's just kind of weird because it starts on the and of 1. Oh, Roger, that sucks. Yeah, so uh, you and Rick, and then one of my private students, he did something to injure his hand or his wrist. I can't remember now what she said, and he's out for a while. So that's a bummer. Yeah, so you rest on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So like there, I only pulled off on that last one. I picked it on the first couple. So, like I said, if you can't do the pull off, you can pick all of it, and it still sounds good. Just do that same timing. So that's the first measure, and then starting on the second measure is the beginning of a repeat. So it's the double bar with the colon. So we're going to do just this like E5 chord. So it's like basically like an E minor, but we're only playing the 3 lower strings. So I just use my first finger to bar the second fret of the A and the D string, and then play the low E string open. And this is simple. It's just 1, 2, and 3, 4. Now, when you're playing it, like if you're playing this like with a whole band, you could play it like that, and make it really tight like that, and it would still sound good. But when you're playing by yourself, I always just kind of like, I'll put like some mute strums in there just to kind of keep the, the the groove of the riff going along. So you do that. The last one you hit is on the and of 4, and then the second or the third measure altogether, but the second measure of this repeat, it just does the same thing that first measure did again. So measures 2 and 3, that's the entire riff. So it's and it's twice on there, and then the whole thing repeats twice for the intro. Hello, John. John Taylor. John Taylor from Duran Duran. John Taylor. All right. Yeah. So it's not the entire intro, but it's like the first part of it. So after that, then it goes into this other kind of a little groove that actually, why is the page cut off? Oh, okay. For a minute there, I thought that the tabs like it was cut off. And so it's got this other groove it's really kind of weird to count if you just play the song, and you tap your foot or put a metronome on. If you're familiar with the song, you're going to be able to just kind of feel where these are at. But we play we rest on beat number 1, and then on the downbeat of 2, we hit just the A and the D string open as an 8th note, and then we rest on the end of 2. So it's like 1, 2, and 3. Then on beat 3, it's a quarter note, and then we rest on the downbeat of 4, and then we play it again on the and of 4. So it's, that bam 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 ba da da da. It's that part. Then on the next measure, which would be measure 7, I think. I don't know, it's too small for me to be able to see. We rest on the downbeat of 1, and then we hit that again on the end of 2. Gosh, all of a sudden I can't get my throat to clear. Somebody asked me if I'm feeling better, and then now I sound like I got a cold again. But I got medicine here, thanks to the Canadians, actually. All right, so that's going to be a total of 4 times. So you got that. Then we got this little riff here, a little walk up. Nope, no Jack. Jack would be Tennessee. This is from Canada. All right, yeah, so after you do them 4, then we got this little riff here. We're gonna play just the open E string twice, and then to the 3rd fret, to the 2nd fret of the D string. Now, when we hit that, it's a quarter note on beat 4, and then it's tied to beat 1 of the next measure. So it actually rings out for 2 beats. I keep cutting it off because he does this riff over and over and over again, but he keeps doing little slight variations on it, and I end up just like kind of mixing them together, which you can do, by the way. This is probably, this is like the longest continuous section of this whole song. These 3 staffs on this first page, and as you can see, it just keeps doing that same thing, but there's little slight differences. The little riff changes from what we were doing, then it's going to go to open 3, and we're going to do just a bend, but just a little quarter step bend, and then to that E again there on the 2nd fret of the D string. So it's like, we try that again. So now we've got that with a little bend. So that's the entire intro, and then it's gonna, from there is when it goes into the first verse. So we've went over like a third of what we're gonna go over. So before we move on to the next part, does anybody have any questions about what we've just gone over? I know that last part I didn't spend a whole lot of time on it, but I don't really feel like it maybe I didn't spend enough time on it. So if anybody, has any questions about that, let me know, or just other guitar related questions. I'll give everybody a second, take a little refreshing break here. Yeah, so if you like, and if you're just joining us, there's a link in the description where you can download these tabs. If you like what I'm doing, hit that thumbs up button because that helps me to keep this job. Anybody, well, I'm waiting a minute. It's just something I've been thinking about. Has anybody been uh, kind of following this trend that's going on reverb, where all of a sudden guitars that were made in the 70s, Gibsons and Fenders from the 70s, are all of a sudden really, really valuable? Like uh, mid to late 70s, Les Pauls are going like, I've like quadrupled in price over the last just very short period of time. Thank you, Clinton. I appreciate that. But I just think it's insane. I've played a lot of guitars, a lot of really nice guitars. I have yet to play one where I would feel that spending $8,000 for it is justified, or 10,000. I think it's insane. Yeah, I'm sure on eBay as well. It's nuts. I don't get it. And not even like there isn't any new guitars being made that I would pay that much for either. All right, so let's take a look at this verse. So the riff from the verse is really similar to the second half of that intro when we were doing it's very similar to that. But now instead of playing this the open A and the D string, we are going to streetwalkers are cheaper. I'll have to take your word for that, Jersey. So now what we're going to do is we're going to still kind of have that same feel, but now it's going to be this E5. So instead of the E5 down here, we're going to play it up here. So 7th fret on the A string, and then 9th fret on the D string and or G string. So I always say with a lot of times with beginners, it's difficult to try to get all three strings, that the note on the G string is the same note that's on the A string. So if you can't get that, you just want to make sure you get the lower ones for sure. So we got that same thing, but now instead of where, let me go back because I want to make sure I don't say this incorrectly. Yeah, so on that other part, that on the intro there, that last part of the intro, we rested on the downbeat of 1 and then did the. So now what we're going to do is instead of resting on the downbeat of 1, we're going to hit the E string, and then we're going to do the same rhythm. And then that same little riff. So open, 3rd fret with just a little bend, and then to the 2nd fret of the D string. Okay, so on there it says that it just repeats 3 times those 2 measures before it that does the last part before it goes into the chorus. Now that's just on the first verse. When you learn the parts and you go to play the song, the second verse is like twice as long. So just keep, like I said at the beginning, this is not like the song laid out from start to finish. These are just the sections. I knew a guy with an Explorer prototype. Yeah, so I guess there's a bunch of weird guitars like that too that are floating around that are like one-offs and stuff that I don't know how people end up getting a hold of things like that. But I guess the Gibson ones, they call them a K series or something like that because they were made in Kalamazoo, and I don't know what was supposed to be so, what's so special about them or whatever, but they're going for like just crazy amounts of money, like 4 times what they were just a few months ago. All right, so we're coming out of that from the. Well, actually, I guess we could just go back and just kind of recap. So the whole intro. Whoops. Man, I'm doing great. Third time's the charm. So that's where we go into the verse. So it's like I said, it's just the same thing. It's that same, E5. It's just we're playing it up here, so it's um, an octave higher. All right. All right. So after you repeat it for however many times, depending on if you're on the first verse or the second verse. Like I said, the second verse is longer. So after you, the last time, then it has that rest, and then that's where he's got me under pressure, and it goes into the chorus. So that's the part we're going to look at now is the chorus. So this is undoubtedly the most difficult part of what we're looking at today. So if you're a beginner, there's parts of this that might feel like impossible to you to do right now, but just do it really slow. I mean, the song is actually cooking along pretty quick, so you don't need to worry about trying to play it quickly. Just try to play it accurately and the timing right and stuff. So what we do is we got that open E string again on the downbeat of 1, and then we got this little lick here. So we're going to start off on the 7th fret of the D string with your first finger, and you're going to pick that and do a hammer onto the 9th fret. And then now this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So you want to let that note continue to ring, and you want to drop your second finger, or if you can have it there in the first place. It doesn't work. That isn't how my muscle memory works with this, but you could certainly do it that way. So after you do this hammer 7 to 9, then you're going to do a pull off from the B string on the 7th fret with your middle finger back to here where we're barring. I guess I forgot to say that. So when you put your first finger down here, you either can start off barred, or you can, after you do this hammer on, you can bring it down. Because what we're doing, we've got this little chord here, and then we're going to do a pull off, which is going to bring us to the 7th fret because we're barring. Whoops. And then we hit the G string again. We strum this whole, where we're just barring 7, and then now we're going to do a hammer on back onto the 8th fret and the 9th fret. So this is kind of like for those of you who were here when we did that, we did that Doobie Brothers thing. You have to hammer into it. Very similar. So that's, like I said, this is probably undoubtedly the hardest part. Now, when he plays too, I think that he's more than likely like hybrid picking, because he does that a lot, or even just playing with his fingers. And I haven't played it enough I haven't played it enough. I don't know. I haven't practiced enough with the hyper picking to really feel comfortable doing it. So I'm actually just picking the whole thing. Then we're going to go to an A5, so just the regular, power chord shape. So I'm on the 5th fret of the low E string with my first finger, and the 7th fret of the A string with my 3rd finger. And this is another one where it isn't on the tabs, and so that could mean that either I didn't think that was what he was doing, or I missed it. I don't know. It was a long time ago when I made this transcription, so I don't know. But we're going to hit that on beats 3 and 4. And then it just repeats. So the second time through, so after that, it just goes right back into that again. And then instead of the 2 A5s, it's going to be the open A and D string, and then the 2nd fret of the A and the D string. And then there we're right back into another verse again. So like the first chorus is like really short too, and I think after the second verse, that chorus is longer. It's the one right before it goes into the guitar solo. Don't quote me on any of that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. A 2003 Hamer Explorer you bought for $400 and they're on eBay for $8,700. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I've told this story before, but I had this second electric guitar that I ever got. The first one I got was a Hondo Les Paul Cobby Lawsuit guitar, and then the second one I got was a 1981 BC Rich Eagle. So it was back when Bernie Rico was doing it. It was made out of koa, neck through, just an absolutely beautiful guitar. And I sold it like a complete idiot. And those things they were going for a lot of money 10 years ago. They're insane now how much they are. I've seen people have them listed for $12,000 to $15,000. It was a great guitar, probably the best guitar I've ever owned. Kick myself in the butt every day for selling it, but if I found it now and I won the lottery, I still wouldn't pay that much for it. Okay, I got it now, man. Not a problem. That's why I'm watching you teach. Oh, well, thank you, Roger. I appreciate that. Yeah, I did real great there for a minute. I was starting to panic thinking that I wasn't going to be able to play it. All right. So on that chorus, this is a part, like I said, it's a lot more difficult. So I'm thinking maybe we should spend just a little bit of time on it for those that maybe need, some slower work with it. So let's just break it down. Probably it's going to be the simplest way to do it if you are more of a beginner. So we'll start off. You're just going to take your first finger and you're just going to bar it so it goes across the D, G, and B string, and it's going to go across the E string too. But it doesn't matter because we're not playing that string anyway. So first we hit the low E open. And now we're going to pick the D string and do a hammer on from the 7th fret to the 9th fret. Then, well, actually, I guess you could bar and put your second finger down here on the 8th fret of the B string. So then you'd be E string, D string, pick, hammer, and now you do a little strum, pull off those two fingers. So now you're just picking up the 7th fret, and then hit the D string again or the G string again. Now, when you go to do that, if you hit the D string, it doesn't really matter. Either one of those is going to be fine. And then we're going to strum all of that. So we're on the 7th fret of the D, G, and B. And then we're going to hammer on back down. So we're going to hammer our middle finger onto the 8th fret and our third finger onto the 9th fret. But we have that G string in between there. That's what she said. And that that can be difficult. So this is a part that you might have to practice separately. You might have to actually break the whole thing down. Maybe you start off with just you work on that, and then you work with doing the pull off. You have a Gibson Epiphone Playing V? Yeah, they. I don't know. Honestly, I've played a lot of copies of those guitars. I don't know if I've ever actually played a Gibson or not. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's a great guitar. It's just nuts the used market with the things they're going for, and like amps too. Like look at a used like Mesa, like a dual or a triple rectifier. They're crazy. I'll never be able to get one. Oh well, you're welcome, Roger. Yeah, ZZ Top's fun. Billy Gibbons is he's a great guitar player and he plays some cool stuff. So that was something too that when I originally had this idea for doing this, I was going to do the guitar solo too, mostly because there's a lot of cool, like you can just take little licks out of it and then incorporate it into your own playing. Um, but then I just decided for the sake of time that there just really isn't enough time to do all that. So I was thinking about doing a stream where it would just be a bunch of Billy Gibbons licks, like from different songs, and just kind of do like a whole Billy Gibbons kind of lick night thing. Would you guys be down for that? Crate 212, just a 212 cab, or it was like a 212 combo amp? Because I've got a crate. Well, I've got two crate Blue Voodoo 412 cabinets that are awesome. And a crate head. I can't remember what model it is, but it's one of those hybrid ones. It's like it's got tubes and solid state. Um, but I've got this little crate, little 112 amp that I picked up at a pawn shop a long time ago, and I will never sell this thing. It is one of the best sounding amps I've ever heard. It really sounds awesome. 3 channels, it's great. Yeah, I use a wireless when I play live, Jersey. Okay, great. Yeah, so I'll plan for that. It's not going to be next time, but I will plan for that and get some stuff together. You picked up a wireless for $45. Um, is it like a used one from somebody, or is that the new price is $45? Because if it's a new one for $45, it's probably not going to be real great. The first wireless I had was even a 80, but it was called Wireless One. It was in the early '90s, and it was like $100. And so everybody in my band all went and got one. And God, we tried to play live, and it was a joke. But I used the Line 6 G G5 or something like that. I can't remember, and it's really awesome. Never had any problems with it. Oh, you were quite welcome, Victor. What was the Allman Brothers Dude Teaches That One Next? That's an awesome song. I do not understand what you're saying. I got Allman Brothers, an awesome song, but don't know which one. Oh, Well, that's great, Jersey. I mean, it's not an impossibility, but it's with a lot of times with, especially with electronics stuff, the a lot of times the cheap stuff isn't good. I mean, money doesn't always buy greatness, but sometimes I think there's a fine line, in there. But if you can get one for that price and it works well, that's great. But I only ever use it when I play live. I'm not going to use it just like to practice or anything like that. That reminds me, I should probably make sure that there isn't batteries in it because I haven't used it for a long time. Oh, from Russia. Hello, Volatir. I hope I'm not slaughtering that. Do I like the new Metallica track? Um, I don't dislike it. I'll be honest, I've only listened to it once. When it came out, I was on a break and I just happened to turn on, open up YouTube and they had just premiered it. So I listened to it and it it's kind of a different sound. I like Metallica, but I really kind of I keep them in their first few albums. Like I think personally, this is just my opinion. I think they peaked at Master of Puppets. I think everything after Master of Puppets started kind of going downhill. And it wasn't that I thought it wasn't good; it just wasn't as good. And they kind of changed their sound, and they didn't change to a bad sound. But I liked that original sound. That was what attracted to me to them in the first place. Uh, Oh, a Hondo Stratocaster copy. I never tried that, and the Hondo Les Paul copy I had was a total piece of crap. I wish I still had it now, just for all the time. I'll get like a new student, it'll be like a kid, and they'll come in and they'll have like a nice Epiphone Les Paul or a Mexican Stratocaster, a J Series Jackson or something like that, and they'll be complaining about it. And I'm like, "You're crazy! This guitar plays great. Mine was like an electric canoe paddle." Yeah, I like Kill 'Em All a lot too. Kill 'Em All's kind of different because it's even just the difference in their sound between Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning was very different because of the absence of Dave Mustaine. I there's a bigger spectrum of Megadeth albums that I like more so than Metallica. I think that Megadeth more or less kind of stuck to their you know to their sound. Countdown to Extinction's a little different. That's probably my least favorite Megadeth album, and it's great. I love Marty Friedman. He's like he's awesome. Okay, so there's actually still one part that we didn't go over on this. I guess we should hurry and go over. This is the easiest part of the song by far. This is the bridge, and it actually has a key change here. So we're gonna start off. We got that A5 like we did earlier. So fifth fret on the low E string and seventh fret on the A string, and we have a whole note on this. So that measure, that whole measure, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then if you look on the next measure, it's still that chord, and we've got a half note. It's tied to a half note, and then it's tied to a dotted quarter note. So what's going to happen is we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the and of 4, we want to do one of those percussive strums. So just release the pressure. You still got your fingers here on that same spot, but you just release the pressure so that way you get kind of that percussive sound. And that's on the and of 4. And then we're going to take this shape and we're going to move it down. So our first finger's on the second fret and we're on the fourth fret of the A and the D string. So that's F sharp 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then now on to measure 26. Then we're going to go up to that E5 that we did on the verse. So the seventh fret of the A string and the ninth fret of the D string, and then the low E open. So this is a repeat, but we have in here, we have first ending, second ending. So I just want to briefly go over this for anybody that doesn't understand how that works. Uh, oh, nice, Victor. Yeah, like the black, like Injustice for All, the Black Album. They both have they have great songs on them and stuff, but they weren't. I just think Master of Puppets is like a really like kind of a perfect record. Like there's no filler on it. It's a great album, and I really like the instrumental, the Orion. Okay. All right. So this first ending, second ending thing. So if you look on here on measure 26, you can see at the top of it, it has above the chord where it says E5, it has this bracket with a 1 in it. And then if you go on to the next measure, it has another bracket with a 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to start there at the beginning of the bridge on measure 22. And now we're going to go back to measure 22 again because that was the first ending. And now we're going to go to the second ending. So on this one, this was pretty simple. The only difference is that the first time it was just the like 7.5, 7/8 notes. And now on this one, we've got the 4 quarter notes here, 4 quarter notes here, and then the downbeat of 1, and then we rest on the rest of it because it goes into another. Because this is the get out a nightstick, hurt me real bad by the roadside. So on the last one, the string is like, she's got me under pressure, and then it just goes back into the chorus again. Yeah, Vault here, and again, I'm saying that wrong. I apologize. Yeah, when I get off here, you'll be able to watch the rerun. I think it takes like 10 minutes, I think, before it's available, but you can watch the rerun. You can download the tabs, then you can get any of the stuff that we missed. Yeah, these crates that I got aren't that old. I mean, it's wood box like anything else, but I've never seen ones like that. That's probably like maybe that was what their gimmick was in the beginning. I remember the crate amps back in the 80s. I used to play in a band with this guy that he had a full stack of a crate that he bought, and it was like the worst sounding amp ever. These 412 cabinets didn't weigh anything. The speakers that were loaded in it, I have bigger magnets on my refrigerator than what were on these things, and it just sounded awful. And so for the longest time, I just thought crate was junk. Um, and then a buddy of mine gave me these Blue Voodoo cabinets and this head, and it's not the Blue Voodoo head; it's a different one. Like I said, it's like a hybrid. It's got tubes in it, solid state. Um, it needs a repair. Some of the pots are really dirty, so if you like touch them, it makes a horrific noise. But it's like really good sounding. But that little combo amp I got, it's like a G12 or something. I can't remember, but the thing sounds amazing. It's got 3 channels. Everybody that plays it goes, "Is this tube?" I mean, because it just sounds awesome. And it was just the reason I bought it is because I needed a little practice amp, and it was the cheapest one at the pawn shop, and so I bought it. And like I said, I'll never get rid of it. I love the way it sounds. Yeah, that spray cleaner, sometimes they're beyond that, and that's what I got going here. It was just like my ADA power amp when I tried to do it on here. It didn't. The next day, it was right back to how it was. It's worse now, probably, than it was. Yeah, I'm just a little worried about doing it because it's different than how it is on a guitar. You know, the pot emitter. This pot emitter, it has, instead of just having the little spades that you solder on, it's got like, these prong things on it, and then they're like soldered onto a circuit board. And if I start messing around with that with a soldering iron, all I'm going to do is have a an amp that just doesn't work at all. I mean, I would just completely tank doing something like that. Uh, I've got a pedal that I was working the Spear booth at NAM, and I got this pedal from it. It's a Korean pedal company, and it was a reverb pedal, and the thing is great. It sounds awesome. Well, I used it with a battery, and then I went to use it with a plug-in, and I didn't pay attention that it wasn't positive tip, negative sleeve. It was the other way around. So when I plugged it in, it went puff, and I could smell like something burning. And I've taken it apart, and I've looked all over, and I cannot find any place that looks like it's burned, but something's cooked in there. I wish I could fix it because I really miss it. It was a really great sounding pedal. Come on, Cam, focus. Come on. There you go. Oh, okay. Okay, Roger, I get it. I get it. Because that's what I kind of thought. A couple of the things you said that I thought it was like there must be some sort of a delay. All right. Well, I'll just jump in my car and drive to New Jersey uh, to bring it to the Guitar Center there so he can fix it. That shouldn't take too long. But anywho, that is all the parts to that song. So yeah, I will do that. I'll take the stuff that like in this solo, a lot of just different Billy Gibbons licks, and kind of put something together that we can go over. Uh, uh, I don't know. I just think he's cool. I just think he does. I mean, most of the stuff he does isn't like super hard. It's not like super hard shreddy stuff or anything like that. But it just sounds really awesome. Okay, Jersey, thanks. Is it a red light? All right. Well, uh, thanks everybody for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. Um, it it always just makes this so much better for me when it goes like this. Even though I couldn't play that riff to save my life there for a minute, and it's live and it's on the internet forever. So this will probably be my viral videos. Like, watch this clown trying to play this riff. But yeah, I really appreciate everybody coming out. If you like what I'm doing here and everything, show me some love, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, yada, 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 all that stuff. Everybody says algorithm this, algorithm that. All I know is that if there's communication and interaction, everything, I get to keep doing this. So I really appreciate everybody who came out. Oh, thanks, Jersey. Crit. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, yeah, Rick. You probably have a list now as long as your arm, no pun intended, uh, of things you're going to play when it heals up. But yeah, thanks everybody. Really appreciate it. And if you were just now tuning in or whatever, there is a link in the description where you can download these tabs, watch the rerun, and get it down. But again, thank you everybody. Really appreciate it. And I will see y'all next week. Have a great night and a great week, everybody. Thanks.